When a lonely woman opens her door to a bloodied stranger in the middle of a storm, she has no idea she's letting a fugitive into her home or her heart. But some dangers come not to destroy, but to save. The rain was relentless that night, hammering down on the windows of a small, isolated cabin nestled in the woods outside Portland, Oregon. Inside, Emily Carter, a 26-year-old bookstore assistant, sat curled up on her old couch with a mug of chamomile tea. Her cat, Whiskey, purred beside her. Life had been quiet since her parents died 3 years ago. Too quiet. Emily often said loneliness was like wallpaper, something you got used to until someone pointed out how dull it really was. That night, though, something shattered the silence. Bang, bang, bang. The loud knocks at the door made Emily spill her tea. "Who the hell?" she whispered, heart pounding. Clutching her robe tighter around her, she crept toward the door. She wasn't expecting anyone. She never did. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice trembling. "Please, I just need a place to stay. Just for a night. I'm not going to hurt you." The voice was male. Deep, raspy, desperate. Against her better judgment, Emily peeked out. A man stood there, drenched, shivering, with a bruise on his cheek and blood on his knuckles. He looked like he'd been through hell. "Please," he said again, locking eyes with her. "Someone's after me." She hesitated. Every instinct screamed no, but something in his eyes, pain, regret, or maybe fear, made her open the door. "You can stay," she said slowly, "but one wrong move and I'll call the cops." He nodded, stepping inside. "Thank you. You don't know what you just did for me." Emily handed the stranger a towel and motioned to the fireplace. "Dry off. I'll make some soup." He said nothing at first, just nodded, his expression unreadable. His eyes scanned the room, books stacked on every surface, framed photos of a smiling couple who looked like Emily's parents, and a calendar that hadn't been flipped in 2 months. As she stirred a pot of chicken soup in the kitchen, her mind raced. Who is he? Why was he running? Am I safe? She glanced toward the living room and found him looking at one of the photos on the wall. "That your family?" he asked, his voice softer now. "Yeah," she replied. "They're gone." He looked down, as if ashamed for asking. "I'm sorry. You haven't told me your name," she said, pouring soup into 2 bowls. He hesitated. "It's Liam." "Liam what?" He looked at her then, eyes serious. "You really want the truth?" Emily froze, ladle halfway to the bowl. "Always." He sighed. "Liam Brooks. Escaped convict. I didn't hurt anyone who didn't deserve it, but I did time for armed robbery. Was being transported to another facility. I escaped when the van crashed." Emily stood silent for a moment, then walked over and placed a bowl in front of him. "You hungry or not, Liam?" He stared at her in disbelief. "You're not calling the cops?" "I should," she said, sitting down across from him. "But I've been lonely for so long. I'd rather take a risk on someone with a story than keep eating soup alone every night." A ghost of a smile crossed his face. "You're either incredibly kind," he said, "or incredibly stupid." "Probably both," she replied, smirking. But deep inside, Emily knew this wasn't just about helping a stranger. Something told her Liam Brooks wasn't just passing through. He had entered her life for a reason. The storm had passed by morning, but Emily barely slept. She stayed in her room, door cracked open, listening for any sign that Liam might try something. But he didn't. Instead, she woke up to the smell of eggs and toast. Emily stepped into the kitchen, surprised to see Liam at the stove. His shirt was off, drying by the fireplace, revealing a long scar across his back. "Morning," he said without turning around. "You cook?" she asked. He shrugged. "Prison teaches you things." She sat down, eyes drifting to the scar. "What happened to your back?" He hesitated. "Old debt paid in full now." She didn't push. She could see the weight he carried wasn't just physical. It was in the way he walked. The way he didn't look her in the eye for too long. Over breakfast, Liam finally spoke more. "I didn't want this life," he said. "But sometimes life doesn't care what you want. My brother, he got into debt with some bad people. I robbed a poker game to bail him out. Got caught. Did 6 years." Emily stared at him. "What happened to your brother?" He awed while I was inside. Silence fell like a curtain between them. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Liam looked away. I don't need sympathy. Just somewhere to catch my breath before I move on. Emily nodded. You can stay a few days, but no lies, no stealing, no drama. He raised his hand like a pledge. Scout's honor. They both chuckled, the tension breaking just slightly. But what neither of them knew was that a black SUV had pulled up half a mile away, parking by the edge of the woods. And someone inside was watching Emily's cabin through a pair of binoculars. The next few days passed in a strange rhythm. Liam chopped firewood, fixed a leaky pipe under the sink, and read novels from Emily's bookshelf. Emily, in turn, started looking forward to their late-night talks by the fire. But something had changed. Emily noticed it first. Whiskey, her cat, kept staring out the window and hissing at the woods. And then there were the footprints near the back door one morning. Too large to be hers or Liam's. She mentioned it over dinner. I think someone's been snooping around. Liam froze mid-bite. Described the prints. Boots. Heavy ones. He stood and went to the window, looking out into the trees. They found me. Emily's heart sank. Who? People who think I owe them. The same men who sent my brother spiraling into debt. They don't want me free, they want me dead. Fear crept into Emily's spine like ice. So I'm in danger too now? I'll leave, Liam said quickly. Tonight. I'll disappear. But Emily didn't want him to go. Not just because she'd grown to trust him, but because deep down, she cared. More than she should. No, she said firmly. We deal with this. Together. Liam looked at her like she'd lost her mind. You'd risk your life for me? You already saved mine, she replied. You just don't know it. That night, they stayed up, whispering plans. Liam set up fishing line traps around the perimeter of the cabin and parked Emily's car deep in the woods to make it look like no one was home. Emily, meanwhile, found an old revolver in her late father's closet. You know how to use that? Liam asked. I grew up with hunters, she said. I'll manage. As they sat by the fire, Emily finally asked the question that had been burning in her for days. Why me, Liam? Why'd you knock on my door that night? He looked into the fire. I didn't mean to. I was running through the woods and saw the light. But when I looked through your window, you looked just as lost as I felt. Emily's eyes welled up. You're not alone anymore. He reached across and took her hand. Neither are you. They sat like that, hand in hand, for a long while, until a twig snapped outside. Liam was on his feet in a second. They're here, he whispered. The first man came from the back, stepping right into one of Liam's traps. The clattering of cans tied to the trees rang out like an alarm. Then gunshots. Liam pulled Emily behind the couch. Stay down. She gripped the revolver tight. A window shattered, and another man tried to climb in. Emily fired. The shot missed, but it scared him off. Liam tackled the front door intruder, fists flying. He fought like a man with nothing left to lose. Emily watched, terrified, until the second attacker lunged at her from the hallway. She pulled the trigger again. This time, she didn't miss. When it was over, Liam was bleeding from a cut on his arm, and Emily was shaking from head to toe. But they were alive. Are they gone? She whispered. Yeah, Liam said. But someone will come looking for them. The next morning, Liam packed a bag. You need to report this, Emily said. But if you do, you'll go back to prison. I know. She stood in his way. Then don't. Run again. Start over. I'll help you. You do that for me? Emily nodded. Let's disappear together. Liam looked at her, stunned. Are you serious? You saved me, Liam. I was alone, empty. Just waiting for life to end. Now I want to live. He dropped his bag and kissed her, long and deep. And then, they ran. 6 months later, in a small coastal town in Maine, a couple named Ella and Mark Rivers opened a used book cafe. Locals loved the quiet charm of the place and the owners. He was quiet, rugged, kind. She was warm, intelligent, always smiling. No one knew who they had been. No one ever asked. Because sometimes, even broken people find something worth running to, not from. And sometimes, a lonely girl and a lost man can save each other in ways neither of them ever imagined.